this brother here, myself, all of us were born with our hair like this, and we just wear it like this because it's natural, because the reason for it, you might say, is like a new awareness among black people that their own natural appearance, physical appearance, is beautiful and is pleasing to them. For so many, many years, we were told that only white people were beautiful. Only straight hair, light eyes, light skin was beautiful.
Welcome to the Dialogue. I'm your host, Heavenly Walker, and today the conversation continues with Saisa. Saisa means political in Swahili, and they are an organization at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, that was founded in 2013. So first, I'd like to introduce the guests of the panel today, and we're going to start at the end with Andrea.
Hi, my name is Andrea Piku. I'm the editor of Saisa.
Hi, my name is Alicia Caldwell, and I'm the organizational chair.
Hi, my name is Dominic Eggsan, and I'm the president.
Hi, my name is Q. I'm the head chairman and founder.
And welcome, everybody. Thank y'all for coming out today and just giving us more insight into your organization and what you do. So first off, I would like to ask you, Q, as the founder, tell us more about the principles behind Saisa and just what sparked you to want to start this organization.
Well, when I came to, I first got to college at UNCG, I wanted to join the organization. I wanted to be involved, and since the age of about 16, I was very involved in politics. I wanted to be involved in it and help uplift my people. Okay. But when I got to campus, I noticed there wasn't really any organizations that were focused on uplifting the community, uplifting black minds in any way, really. So I decided I had to start my own. I had to start something. So at first it took me a while. It took me, because I was getting turned down. Like I went to the head of my department and asked him about me starting one. He said Pan-Africanism is not a good idea, that it wouldn't work. I just need to focus on my schooling. So for about a year I let it flounder, but then I went back to it. You know, it came back to me. And so I started it up in, I think, the fall of 2013. Okay. And, you know, we've been kicking off since. There was only 2 or 3 of us at first, but we built up. Now we have about 6 people on our e-board and about 50 to 60 people come to meetings. Saisa is basically, the principles we're founded off of is Pan-Africanism. It's a political ideology that was started by some of the founders like Martin Delaney, Marcus Garvey, also Du Bois. Du Bois was a theorist, and Marcus Delaney was a theorist as well, about the theory of uniting the diaspora with the continent economically and politically. But Marcus Garvey had the biggest movement, so that's what inspired me the most. That's why we wear the red, black, and green as well.
Okay. Now, for those of us that aren't, I guess don't know a lot about just the Pan-African movement and black nationalism, give a little bit more insight, and anyone feel free to chime in here, but get a little more insight into, you know, the goal of black nationalism.
So the main goal of Pan-Africanism is to politically unite the diaspora, which is all the people of African descent that are not on the continent. So Brazil, which has the biggest population of black people not on the continent, the U.S. as well, together politically, so we can basically, so if something happened to us in the United States, we have political coalition with those in Brazil, so we'd have more power. And so we have political coalitions with those in Africa, so we have more power, and it gives all black people around the world more power. And also the reason we do it is because of white supremacy. White supremacy is a global ideology. So in order for us to be able to protect ourselves all over the world, we have to have a global ideology, and Pan-Africanism fits that. Anybody else like to say anything about our principles?
Yes, education. We definitely strike to educate people on the diaspora and what Pan-Africanism and nationalism is. I think within restoring the political and economic unification of people of African descent, we must first educate them on the Eurocentric mindset that they have adopted and why they continue to separate themselves, and why the diaspora cannot come together is because they've been properly miseducated by a common enemy, and that common enemy is white supremacy, or anybody that is against uplifting black and melanated people.
And just to be clear, because we're going to hear the term white supremacy, and I just want to be clear that it's not about being anti-white. It's more about being pro-self, pro-black, and against the suppression of a people.
In our
Bottom line.
organization, we don't see race in an emotional sense. We see it as organization. That's why it calls we have to see ourselves as a corporation, because that's how white people see that. They created these systems. So our economic system was based off the Bretton Woods conference that white people got together. There was no black people in that meeting when they decided how they want to set up the free markets, how they were going to, when they set up the IMF and the World Bank. We weren't there, and we don't benefit from these systems. So you can see that in 2008, you have Ireland, Greece, Spain all go bankrupt, but they can forgive their debt because they're part of that system. But when Africa all goes bankrupt on their loan, they can't forgive them. So you all obviously see that there is a overt oppression that comes from the system that goes along the lines of race and whiteness. So that's why we talk about the white supremacy and why we have to fight it on a global level.
I also think it's important to note that we are talking about it systematically because we run across people, not only white people, black people probably more than white people say, oh, but white people aren't evil, they're our friends, like that white people aren't that mean to me, like I have white friends, I have white classmates. No one is saying anything about individual white people. We're not talking about any individual person, maybe like the war criminals, but not any individual white person in your class. We're talking about the fact that white people historically have set up economics, politics, cultural systems for our oppression, created so we cannot succeed. No one's talking personally about the white people in your life. People are talking about the idea that white people have set up a structure that we can't get into. It's not personal, it's organizational.
And bottom line, a system that was not designed for us can never be for us, is the way that I kind of look at it. I mean, this system, we weren't, like you said, not involved, not at the table. And honestly, our whatever we stand for wasn't at the table.
Exactly.
Nothing about us mattered, especially when that occurred. So I'm glad that I am learning more about this topic and understanding, because when you hear black nationalism, you almost think militant, because of it can go down to mainstream media is one thing that we did want to discuss today. And as a matter of fact, let's just go down that path. So I think what I'd like to ask is as far as I guess the media and the cultural influence of Africa versus mainstream America. Because let's be real, like just as I was saying, as far as the concept that black nationalism is militant or against white people, or want to totally separate themselves in a negative aspect, not in a positive aspect, which is what you guys are talking about right now. How is it shown to America when you look at Africa versus the mainstream America? Like what are your thoughts on that?
On the difference?
The media and the cultural differences.
Wow, that's a big question. Well, let's start what you said, like how people think that we're militant. They have that impression. That typically comes because of Black Panthers and the impression that they had on mainstream media. The thing is that the Black Panthers were actually not a nationalist organization. So you see how the media twists things to make us more afraid of things that we don't need to be afraid of. So the Panthers were actually just a black socialist organization. They were not nationalists. They said that some of the members might have been nationalists. Their goal was not a black nation. But we still suffer from negative stereotypes. Even though I think the Panthers did great things, people are still scared of them because they did things like open carry. And that's something that is stigmatized in the black community. We're not allowed to open carry like white people open carry all the time. So we definitely still face with the pressure of fighting this wrong-headed image of black pride and black power.
I think the media is another wing of the white supremacy, because we know images are so powerful. Like you said, images speak to the soul. Symbols are get stuck in your subconscious way easier than just other words like letters, reading letters. Symbols are way easier to get stuck in your subconscious. So the media is another wing of that white supremacy to keep us down, to show the images that show us portrayed as poor, not having any intellect. It's just another part of that. I think so.
And I guess culturally, what would you say in regards to, we're in a pop culture society. That's what it is, and so that's what you see as mainstream. So I feel like you already got.
I really have a beef with mainstream media, especially how they portray black people. So we don't really have a lot of our own television stations or our own media image. What we have is highly controlled by non-black sources.
Right.
So the radio, most of what you hear on the radio is top 40 chosen by record labels. It doesn't really reflect a true image of what most black people are talking about. That same goes for television. Like BET is the most mainstream national black channel, but when you turn on BET, that's not the image that like I want to look up to. I have like young family. I don't want my little cousins to want to act like the people that they see on BET. They're worried about materialistic things, about clothes and money and drugs and sex, not like getting education or starting a business or something like that.
Okay, wait, hold that thought. We're going to take a brief break and come back because I really want to, expound more on what you're talking about, and I feel like you all have a point to make in just a second. So give us a moment, and the dialogue will continue shortly.
Now is the time to make real